cops. They shoot a 7th grader in the back. 7th grader, 13 years of age, no weapon, no threat to law enforcement. Last week, the family of this 13-year-old filed a federal lawsuit. Let's put up a picture of the mother. This is such a sad story. So last week, the family of a 13-year-old who was shot in the back by Chicago PD filed a federal lawsuit accusing the officer of needlessly shooting the unarmed teen in the back during a foot chase, okay? The lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court on behalf of Sierra Corbett, the teen's mother. Ms. Corbett addressed reporters outside the hospital her son is admitted at, saying, and I quote, "It's crazy because they had no reason to shoot my child. He complied with them, and all they had to do was grab him. All I want is justice for my baby. That's all I want. The child may never walk again," according to Ms. Corbett. She recalled her son's love for sports and riding bikes. Let me give you some background. The lawsuit lists the city and the unidentified officer who fired the shot as defendants, and alleged the shooting was a direct result of the city's failed implementation of a new policing or policy governing inherently dangerous foot pursuits. The teen, who is black and in the 7th grade, is identified only by his initials because he's a juvenile, AG. The lawsuit stated that AG is currently lying in Stroger Cook County Hospital with a bullet still lodged in his body after being shot in the back by a police officer on May 18th. Authorities said the 13-year-old possibly was linked to a carjacking. That is not conclusive, okay? And that he was shot and seriously wounded as he ran from police officers in the South Austin neighborhood. Now, I want to remind everybody of something. They have not concluded that this child was involved in the carjacking. That's number one. Put that on the shelf. Even if they did conclude he may have been part of a carjacking, he was running away and unarmed. That does not give law enforcement the right to shoot you in the back. There is absolutely no question that he presented no threat to law enforcement or anyone around him. He was unarmed, no gun was recovered, nor was he ever seen with any weapon whatsoever. Forensics are clear. He was shot in the back. Now remember, he could be dead right now. For those of you who may push back and say, well, Doc, he should not have been stealing cars. Number one, not conclusive. Number two, you have a right to due process in this country. Number three, you're innocent until proven guilty. Number four, you want someone to do that to your child? I've been a juvenile delinquent. I know what it's like to create mischief and run from the police. Do you want a country where the police now are allowed without penalty to simply shoot unarmed teenagers in the back while they're running away? And according to the report, it seems like this teenager actually stopped to comply and was then shot at that time. Let me give you some more. The Chicago Police Department issued a statement in the wake of the shooting saying, and I quote, "The officer involved in the shooting Wednesday night in the Austin neighborhood has been relieved of police powers effective today, while the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is conducting this investigation." Okay, let's go to the civil rights attorney. Andrew Stroth, civil rights attorney and managing director of Action Injury Law Group. Stroth said all Ms. Corbett is asking for is full transparency. And 1 week after the shooting, those representing Corbett and her son don't know everything that happened. They don't. They have not been given the information, and they have a right to it. Stroth and his legal team have spoken, put up his picture again, to COPA, and were expected to have watched the video evidence this week. He added Ms. Corbett wants the video to be released to the public. Okay, good for him, good for the mother. This is a sad situation of a 13-year-old shot in the back. And we have become desensitized to these things. This is a child who has been shot in the back for an alleged crime that they can't even conclude he actually was involved in. And even if they did conclude it, he still should not have been shot, period. In addition to alleging a civil rights violation, the suit claims The city has allowed police officers to routinely use excessive force, including deadly force disproportionately against minors. This is not the first time we've talked about Chicago PD being involved in the killing of a young black male. We have multiple stories we've covered right here on Indisputable and multiple cover-ups as well. Let's go to the superintendent of police. Who is he? His name is David Brown, okay? During a brief news conference, Brown said after AG fled on foot, the child turned towards officers and was shot once. Is that illegal? Is that illegal? He turned toward officers, okay? He turned toward officers based on the narrative to comply. He was running, he stopped, he turned around, and in the process of turning around, he gets shot. The child was unarmed, authorities said, okay? No gun recovered, according to the police. Brown did not say whether the child did or did not have a gun when he was wounded in the lot at a nearby gas station. No shots were fired at officers. Brown said he declined to say how many police fired at the child. Let's go to Stephen Hart, another attorney on the case. Hart said Brown had no business casting aspersions to a 13-year-old child to justify this shooting, especially without any proof of formal charges. All right. See, okay. Where's the cop or cops that did this? Oh, they're hiding them. They're hiding the cops that did it. The cops work for the public, okay? They work for us. 100% of their money comes from people, comes from tax dollars. They are accountable to you. I'm gonna say this to the good people of Chicago. Your police force is out of damn control, okay? We've covered multiple stories here on Indisputable about not only cover-ups, but also planting evidence. There's one particular cop who was so egregious, they now have to go back years and unravel cases that he was involved in. However, it was well known within the department that this individual planted evidence and set people up. And he was allowed to get promotion after promotion after promotion. He was a black male, setting up other black men in particular. Now, at some point, Chicago has to answer